Welcome back into your Talking Fitchburg Council update with your host, Jeremy and Brecklin. It should be the Jeremy and Brecklin show or Crosby Brecklin,
Sure.
recap.
Yeah.
I'm reworking out some of my intros, and this guy's calling me on it. But that's not what we're here. We are here for your council recap. Excuse me. And as we get going here, we're looking at the December 10th council meeting. A lot of stuff on the agenda. It was the final meeting for the year, so of course it's going to be filled up with some goodies on there. But you kicked off at the public hearing on a few different items.
Yeah, there were 5 minor comprehensive plan amendments on the council agenda. The public hearings related to those also took place, and there was an opportunity for the public to weigh in if they wanted to on any or all of those particular minor comp plan amendments. And for those who are wondering what a comp plan is, that's our comprehensive land use plan that the city has. So those were all the initial items on the agenda, the public hearings.
Comp plan amendment pieces, bet you those are like right here in this Plan Commission area.
They are right there in the Plan Commission area. The first one is related to the future land use at a property on Borchert Road, where that was changed from agriculture and open space to rural residential. That was passed by the Common Council. The second minor comp plan amendment was related to a project on Central Park Place, which is in the Uptown neighborhood. Our maps were out of date in regards to the Park and Conservancy listed on this particular parcel, and that was thereby necessitating a change to high-density residential for the project that is occurring there. That passed as well. Third amendment to the plan was related to changing a parcel at Seminole Highway and Lacey Road from business to high-density residential. There is a potential project that would bring 375 apartment units spread across several buildings, with one of those having approximately 6,000 square feet of retail in it, and then a standalone building that may be approximately 30,000 square feet for like a sports recreation use. So still some things to work out with that related development. Related project, but ultimately that passed by the Common Council. The fourth item on the Plan Commission was a minor comp plan amendment that had been withdrawn by the applicant, so no action was taken on that other than to postpone it indefinitely. And the fifth item under the comp plan / Plan Commission was to make a procedural change to the comp plan. A little bit of history. Prior to 2020, the 2020 update, the comp plan had language that basically said the Plan Commission and the Common Council need to be in agreement on items, and that one didn't necessarily have say over the other. In 2020, the Common Council at the time updated the comp plan to say that the council had the final say. And there are a couple of legal opinions out that would indicate that really the appropriate way is that they both need to be in agreement with things, and that neither of them has the authority over the other per se. The state statute's a little bit cloudy, hence why there's a little bit of back and forth on this one, but ultimately the Common Council decided to utilize the language that has been recommended by our city attorney, as well as the legal Wisconsin municipalities legal opinion. So that passed.
All right. Thank you for the breakdown on that. We move into Board of Public Works. First resolution was postponed from the November 26th meeting, and it has to do with Jamestown's quarry.
Yeah, so this is a development or proposed development across from the Target on McKee Road. This is the subdivision improvement agreement, which is one of the last steps that takes place before the actual development project begins. The subdivision improvement agreement basically outlines, and it's a contract between the developer, landowner, subdivider, take your pick on the terminology there, and the city, and it outlines all of the improvements that need to be made as part of the development. So this agreement was passed by the Common Council, so this will lead likely to 4 lots being created with businesses that have been identified as McDonald's, possibly McDonald's, Chick-fil-A, a Crew Car Wash, and I think it's a bank. I forget whether it's Chase or one of the other was. But and then there's also about 275 apartment units that are planned on the portion just north of Fitcherona Road. There's still a portion of this development that remains to be seen as far as what will go there, but this was the first step in, I guess I'd say, the last step in beginning the development.
Seems like first step, last step, first step.
Yeah, there's a lot of
back and forth.
A lot of back and forth on this one.
All right, awesome. Was approved. So moving on to the next one, granting some underground electric easement usage.
Yep, MG&E needed an easement in order to enhance the electrical utility service in the Traceway Drive area, and needed an easement on some city-owned property there, so that passed.
Moving on to the next one, stormwater fund budget, repairs, chemicals, postage, other.
Yeah, this needed to be a budget amendment in order to cover some cost overruns in other accounts. There's specific information that is listed in this resolution to identify which accounts ran over and where the additional funding is coming from. But basically, it was a small budget amendment, I think $13,000 in total. So that was passed by the Common Council.
We have an acceptance for Fitchburg Tower D bid, a bid for the Public Works and Finance Committee.
Yeah, so this is a new water tower that's going to be constructed on the east side of the city near the intersection of Highway 14 and Lacey Road. The bid has been awarded as a result of council action tonight. I think the estimated cost for the water tower is right around $4.2 million.
Huh, not cheap at all.
No. No.
No, we'll look forward to seeing that. On to a resolution for a preliminary resolution for Lacey Road water main, sanitary sewer, and road improvements.
Yeah, so anytime the city extends water, sanitary sewer, or makes road improvements related to a development, those are assessed to the parcel owners or property owners that are benefiting from those improvements. So that's really what this is. Will allow the city to identify the appropriate amount to assess and to which property owners for this particular work that was done as part of the Lacey Road reconstruction last year.
Accepting subdivision improvements for Phase 3 plot on Highfield Reserve as the next resolution.
Yeah, so this is one of the things that happens when a development is nearing completion. The subdivision improvements that we talked about in an earlier item. This is an indication that this developer has met all of the criteria, and the city has inspected the work that was completed and is willing to accept the improvements that are made. Those improvements are typically your sidewalks, your streets, curb and gutter, the utilities within the streets, and those sorts of things.
We move on to changing some speed limit on West Clayton Road from our 225 miles per hour. This is coming from the November 26th meeting.
Yeah, so this is a stretch of roadway in northeast Fitchburg that up until a couple of years ago connected from Scion Road over to a dead end at Highway 14, but also connected at Herman Road. And it had been 35 miles an hour. There was a railroad crossing that was closed there on that road, which then effectively created a couple more dead ends on that stretch. So this is an appropriate street to reduce the speed from 35 to 25, and if I recall correctly, our residents who live on that street requested that as well. So this was passed, and some signs will be going up soon.
All right, one Parks Commission piece, and it was approval of the Parks and Open Space and Recreation Plan.
Yeah, so the most recent update to our 5-year Parks and Open Space and Recreation Plan was approved last night. This had went through a number of committees and commissions with an opportunity to share some feedback. And staff in our Parks and Planning Department in particular was able to incorporate a vast majority of that feedback, and ultimately led to a passed plan last night.
Fantastic. On the Healthy Neighborhoods Committee, they had proven a contract with Dane County to accept the 2025 Neighborhood Navigator funding.
Yeah, so we have 2 part-time neighborhood navigators that are funded exclusively with grant money from Dane County. They serve the Leopold neighborhood and are largely working to identify and assist families related to early childhood and identifying resources. So that grant was extended. This has been a grant we've received, I think, since 2019, and the Common Council accepted the grant funding for 2025 with no changes.
Fantastic. They've done some great work. Ad hoc committee, the Equity Committee, has a resolution here adopting and approving the City of Fitchburg's strategic plan.
Yeah, this item was postponed by Council last night to January 28th. That was an expected postponement. Feedback is still being sought through the end of day December 12th. So this will give an opportunity for the consultant to evaluate and assess that feedback and produce a final draft in time for the end of January.
We have Finance Committee had a couple of resolutions here, starting with internet service for the hub facility.
Yeah, two items here that relate to the hub facility project up on Traceway Drive. One was to put in the necessary equipment to provide internet services for the building, and the other was to add door access controls.
Easy peasy.
Yeah, straightforward, just like any other business or facility.
We've got next resolution is adding or amending 2024 debt and capital project fund budget. So I'm gonna leave it there and let you pick it up.
Yeah, so I'm not going to do this one as good a justice as Misty Dodge, our finance director, would do. But as you can imagine, we've got a great finance director in Misty, and every year she takes a look at these sorts of things, and we had some unused budgeted interest, some principal payments, as well as some special assessments that were paid to us that we were not anticipating, and all of this ultimately totaled about $2.7 million, and Misty recommended that we utilize that $2.7 million to offset the future borrowing costs associated with the police services facility. So ultimately, we'll be borrowing, this was approved, so ultimately we'll be borrowing at least $2.7 million less than we would have previously done so before we did this maneuver.
Awesome.
Yeah.
We turn our attention to approving replacement of capital improvement data center switches.
Standard replacement
Whoa.
before our
I want you to break this fully
our
down.
data center switches reach their end of service, not end of life necessarily, but end of service regarding support from the manufacturer. So this is an opportunity for us to replace those before they go out of end of service, and that was approved.
All right. We have approving a budget amendment to establish community history display celebrating the history, development, diversity of the city of Fitchburg.
Yeah, so the city is looking to create a history display that would be located as you come into City Hall, immediately to the right as you walk in the main entry doors on a wall there. And this resolution was passed that would allow for this to be created and displayed. So there'll be more information to come on that. The funding for this particular project was from our TID closure excess increment.
Awesome. All right, a couple of direct referrals here. First one's accepting subdivision improvements for phase IA and IB in the Hartung A and B.
Yep, just like a previous subdivision improvement agreement. These is the completed works of that, and the city is now accepting those and taking ownership.
Then we have a replacement of air handler controls. Is this for City Hall?
This is for City Hall. We have 3 air handler controls that are original to the building, which was constructed in 1999. These controllers have begun to fail, which has required our building maintenance staff to manually monitor these air handling units at all hours of the day and evening. So it is certainly a challenging situation for us, and council has authorized that we're able to replace those units.
Awesome. Then we have subdivision improvements for Phase 1 plat, 4th addition to Terravesa.
This was postponed to the January 14th Common Council meeting.
Fantastic. There were a couple of different closed session and discussionary pieces on here. I will leave it open to you I didn't see the meeting, so I apologize.
Sure.
But,
yeah, absolutely. So I'll talk about both of those. So the first one was a claim filed by Brookstone Fitchburg LLC against the city. That's a property owner, multifamily property owner at 2859 Egaman Road. This claim was in regards to water damage alleged to have been caused by the city of Fitchburg. The Common Council went into closed session, consulted with the city's attorney on this, and came back out into open session and took action on this claim by denying the claim. The second item was also a consideration of assessment related to an excessive tax assessment case. Again, the Common Council went into closed session and consulted with legal counsel regarding this settlement offer. Council came back out of closed session, reconvened, and the action they took was to deny this settlement as well.
All right, he has made it through it. The next meeting is scheduled for January 14th, so he gets a little bit of a break from us here. And the next meeting, the whole meeting will be January 22nd. If you missed this meeting, of course, we have this meeting and all the meetings from past year, this year, and years even further with Fitchburg Common Council. Appreciate your time. It's a lot of information to present.
Busy
but we
meeting.
love the breakdown, so appreciate it.
Thank you. Happy holidays.